Brainstorming always unveils new perspectives, emphasizes on known points, and hence new sites. We, along with ATA, would like to welcome all the Cafethon panel members to talk about a very interesting topic for the day, inclusive leadership, where we are trying to see if there's any barriers in women leadership and if there is any gap to be bridged in women leadership on an organization level. Hi, Sundar. Sundar would be my co-moderator for the same.
Thanks, Dipti.
Hi, Dipti.
I hope all our panel members are with us. I can see Asmita, Veena, Sundar, Nalini, Anjana, and Priya. Great to see you all. Sundar, would you want to start introducing our esteemed panel members?
Sure. I'm just trying to get the PowerPoint on the.
I can share it for you. I can share.
Would you be able to share it?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to be here, and I'm also excited to co-host the panel discussion along with Deepti. I would like to introduce a couple of our panel members and give it over to Deepti to introduce the rest of the panel members. So I would like to introduce Priya Tandon. Priya is a believer in inclusive leadership and also and has established strategic partnership within several organizations. She is a product development organization leader with over 25 years of experience in building and deploying large-scale commercial and enterprise products. Priya is passionate about nurturing talent as well as building products. We are really happy to have you here, Priya, and we would want to listen from you, from your experience at a product leadership level on how women can be a change agent. I'm also happy to introduce Nalini Kannan. I'm actually a proud colleague of Nalini, and she's also a good friend of mine. She's a senior architect at IBM India Software Labs. She has been instrumental in delivering multiple products across the Software Labs organization. She's very passionate about security, the domain security itself. She's been championing zero trust security at IBM since the last couple of years. She's a frequent speaker at several conferences, and she also shares her experience in industry perspectives in them. So Nalini is a PG from PG in computer science from IISc Bangalore and has about 20 plus years of experience in the industry. So once again, happy to have you here, Nalini, and want to hear from you about the technical leadership that women can bring. Over to you, Deepti.
Thank you. Thanks, Sundar. And welcome, Nalini and Priya. Moving on and introducing the other panel members, I would warm welcome Veena Murthy. Veena is a driving force and strategist behind many successful products across healthcare and Indian and international market operations. Veena has around 19 years of experience and she works for IQVIA. A very hearty welcome, Veena. We also have Anjana, a technology leader who has spearheaded multiple initiatives and solutions in quality engineering over the last 15 years. She was
charging लावला नाही लावला त्यावरून तरी at least.
All of you to be on mute. Can the other co-hosts please help me mute them all? Thank you. Sorry, I'll start again over. Anjana is a technology leader. She has spearheaded multiple successful initiatives and solutions in quality engineering across various domains over the last 15 years. Currently working in AO Connect, she's also into training many QA professionals and her juniors. Thanks for joining us, Anjana. And we have Ashmita from UST Blue Conch. Ashmita is a very creative quality enthusiast, again with around 15 plus years of experience. She is leading the QA practice for UST Blue Conch. I am very esteemed and delighted to have very experienced folks on the panel. So hopefully we will rock it, guys, and let's have a very candid and this topic is basically very close to our heart. I'm sure all of us have lived this at some point of time in our career levels. So let's unveil, go back and come back and share all our experiences to help the current aspiring women to have a bright leadership in future. Just a inclusive thing. This is just not about women leadership. The men do not have to be disheartened and not encouraged. This is also about how everybody can supportively bring in this equality in the organization levels. So let's start with this. So great welcome to all of you. Hope you're all spearheaded. Firstly, I think we know for a fact that we have a gap. I would like to just present a metric here. I hope my screen is seen. Yeah, so according to the World Economic Forum WEF 2020 Global Gender Gap Index, women account for just 24% of senior roles at the highest levels of corporate leadership. So we know for a fact that we have some gap. So let's discuss what is leading to this gap and what are the factors. Priya, can we start with you? Would you agree, and what do you think is creating this gap?
Yeah, definitely, I agree. And what is creating this gap? And I'll just take a different approach to it than usually what we say about the opportunity and being there as a person and being there as a man and think like a man and things like that. I would take a little different approach, which is a cultural approach. The culturally, since Merit was actually joining from a Scandinavian country, usually Scandinavian countries are the feminine culture countries, whereas India comes under a masculine country, and it has nothing to do with male and a female. It means whether you care for a quality of life or whether you care for a competition. So in our space, right from when we have taken a birth, we are in a competition, and women are really looking at the quality of life, everything. So your grades, your promotion, your child's grade, your child's promotion, your husband's grade, your husband's promotion, and your brother-in-law and sister-in-law and sister-in-law is also very important, right? Which is good. I think that is a quality of life. So who chooses what? It depends on that, is where we are going. So that gap is because I very honestly feel that the culture in the corporates also needs to change from this competitive culture to life of quality of life culture. And if that is the change that we will see, then we'll probably be able to lift up very naturally, because women will do caregiver job also and a provider job also. And that's the way they like it. I don't think they choose something over other. So that's my view, and then I call upon others to join me.
Thanks, Priya. Thank you so much for that. Can we move to Veena? Veena, what would you want to add upon what is leading to the gap? Veena, you're on mute. You might have to unmute yourself.
Sorry about it. Probably it is fixed now. So according to me, there are three important things for the gap. I mean, a little bit different perspective than what Priya told. I mean, probably the similar thing, like women themselves sometimes wherein they basically think that they got to be perfect for the opportunities that is there in front of them, right? And the very attitude of I am around 60 to 70% ready for this. Will I be able to take up? The self-doubt is very, very good. But at the same time, if the self-doubt is being positively utilized in order to scale up and take up the challenge, is something that is important. So women are basically progressing towards that. It's not that I don't say that it is stagnant. So it is women. And second thing is the rat race. The from an org level, right? The rat race, that is the culture of rat race around there is definitely not so much welcoming for women to choose one thing over the other. So as and when we mature into the culture of supporting each other, be it women to women or the manager to employee, I mean, holistically across all genders, right? It will be more safer place or more what do I say, the place of choice for women to opt more and more to be there to take charge of and things like that. And of course, I mean, the third part, I think we are already in the world of Indira Nooyi, Sheryl Sandberg, and Sudha Murthy, right? The world is already a better place compared to our previous generation. And the problem of male journalism is definitely there, but I think we have better examples, and we have better stories and better things to follow in those lines. So I think 90% of that war is already won. So that's my view about this.
Great, thank you, Veena. Nalini, moving on to Veena and Priya have some points over, perfection and, the giver attitude of women. So you please help us understand, is the career ladder opened up for women, and what are the hindrances that we are facing about it?
Okay. Yeah, so from my experience, I think I have been very fortunate to have really good male bosses as well as allies in my career all along. So personally, if I think it is why a career is not the same as a man, right? Is mainly because of self-doubt that earlier the other speakers had spoken about, right? So purely it is self-doubt plus the guilt feeling, okay, whether we will be able to manage two worlds at the same time. All those things are the biggest inhibitors. But definitely, I do think the opportunities have opened up a lot, and the culture of being more inclusive, I have seen has grown much better, right? Every walk of life, we have seen opportunities open up for every. I wouldn't just put diversity as one thing, male versus female or anything, right? It also has opened up to be a more inclusive world for in every aspect, be it LGBTQ or neurodiversity in the recent days, or for persons with different abilities and so on. So I think that culture change or the DNA change is very welcoming. No matter what you do in other spheres of influence, right? Like you might include a lot of talent, you might give a good equitable platform for women and others to grow. But unless that culture change is there, none of these will work, right? So I think that DNA change is the most welcome change I see in the recent days, and very happy about it. Have we reached the right place? I'm not sure. There are still some places where there are some gaps, but I'm sure over time we will get there. So that has been my observation.
Sure. With majority of us agreeing with the fact that self-doubting should be reduced and we have to push ourselves to move up. Can I move to Anjana? Anjana, your views and any challenges that you have faced and that you want to talk about it?
I think all of them have covered most of the points, and yeah, of course, self-doubt is one thing. And for me, or for people around me, one of the biggest factor which has kind of stopped us is especially when it comes to the children, right? So once you have the children, you start having that guilt feeling as to saying, will you be able to provide enough for your child, as well as you be able to provide what is the company is expecting. And I can just quote an example, like when I had my daughter who was like 7 months old, I got an opportunity to work for one of the top leading companies, and I was like not wanting to take up that opportunity because I didn't know if I would be able to give the best for both the worlds. But things were like my hiring manager especially was like very supportive of the fact, saying, don't worry, we'll give you all the support that is required. We'll also go to the extent of having your meetings and calendars modified a bit for you to accommodate what your child needs, because my child was like just 6 months old when I took up this opportunity. And I was like really thankful. At some point I realized that I was able to give the best for both of these things. So going on from there, right, I kind of started preaching these things to everybody around me, saying, okay, I was able to do it, you will also be able to do it, and you should start doing it, and don't have this guilt feeling, and we are all more than capable of what we actually think, right? So that feeling or that confidence, I think women should start having more in ourselves. So that is what I would like to put. Yeah.
Well, we learned from you that you had a supporting, organization to help you cope up, and the self-doubt is definitely that we should not be having. Can we move to Ashmita? Ashmita, any of your views which is similar to this, or do you have an experience different from them?
I think, I'll definitely sum up almost, all of their experiences, because self-doubt or definitely, I had, once heard that, when it comes to females, we look more for results. And when it comes to males, they go for potential. And it may be, in the self-evaluation as well. So I feel, that definitely is a point where we'll have to be, confident about ourselves. I won't deny the fact that nature or, motherhood also, gives you there is a hiccup or a jerk that you get, but I feel that it's okay, and there's no harm in going for a break as well, as long as you have your own goals clear, and the comeback plan as well, right? And in fact, I think, the more we work, right, I understand, the guilt stays. However, we are setting good examples for our kids as well, the next generation as well, where we are setting the goal that it's okay, that your mom is working, or it's okay that, the husband and wife are, sharing the responsibility shoulder to shoulder, and, so that we encourage them indirectly, right, to work. And I think if you look at it, right, for this pandemic also, the silver line could be that, with all this virtual working and the flexibility that it brought in, right? So now, with all these milestones also, I'm sure, a lot of workforce would continue to work. They'll not be forced to take breaks, or, I think they can now, work at home as well as take care of kids. In fact, we may reach a situation where we want a break and go back to office. So at least I have. So I think, so I, second, definitely, all these views. And it's time that, it can be it has to be a mindset change as well, where at times, we don't consider ourselves as a primary breadwinner, which again, is a thought we can change and align that, we have to shoulder the responsibilities. So we can, definitely take it up.
Yeah, thanks, Ashmita. We have an audience who is, trying to resonate with us. They are saying, this is Sanjeev, she should be seen as a human being instead of a woman, and women empowerment should be dropped from the dictionary. It's just a mindset issue, and no woman is self-doubting. What do you think about this panel members? He's putting your question back on self-doubting. So I think that's a very mature thought, Sanjeev. True that. Yes, anybody would want to answer that, Priya?
I will definitely answer. I myself used to be the person who used to go for a celebration of Men's Day along with Women's Day, because it is very important for me that we show equality. At the same time, somebody has opened my eyes in recent times just to show me that women empowerment, why it is very necessary to talk about as a subject, and we are not yet ready to drop that from the dictionary, because we cannot just look at the some sector of only IT corporate world and imagine that that is a woman empowerment. woman empowerment has to be making your own choice of a marriage to anything that you do in life. Okay, so I'll give you just an example, Sanjeev. When my daughter said in her fourth standard, my mother is my father and my father is the mother. They all got confused, called me and said, "What is this that your daughter is talking about?" I said, "Because I am the provider of my family, and my husband is a house husband who's a caregiver, and that is a modern family. And you, if you are not able to accept the fact that there is a mother who's a father and father who's the mother, by the definition of mother, because she was asked to give an essay of a mother and she could not tell exactly the way the other people, and she felt lost. I think that is the reason we have to talk about this subject again and again. For mere reason is, until we have really law of Gente really applied in our society, I think we have not earned it over there. I think there is a lot to cross yet. But yeah, we are privileged being in the IT industry for sure. That I can tell you.
Thanks.
I agree.
That's quite a revolution to have that mindset in, and to accept that part of it and move in. I think Kshitij and Jay also have a few questions. Kshitij and Jay, do you want to come on panel discussion? You can unmute yourself and include yourself in this discussion.
Yeah, hello Dipti.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dipti.
Yeah, my question is, how can we create a culture in team so that women teammates feel that they can grow in team as well as in leadership?
Okay.
So can I answer that question?
Yes, Veena, go ahead.
Of course, there has to be, I mean, from an org side, when you are setting a culture for women, I mean, I would say as a woman, I would, how I would set the culture to make my team members, my colleagues comfortable. Okay, so first part is the policies part. I mean, we should actually give feedback and do all that is there in our stride to bring women-friendly policies in terms of leaves, breaks, and things like that. And then as women, each other, or as male colleagues, I mean, first of all, let's talk about the women helping women, right? So that is something as a culture, I mean, women have to lead this attitude of being each other's cheerleaders with passion. This is the time to do that. I mean, there is so much opportunity, for example, with me to basically offer to all my women colleagues, right? And it's like I should be able to cheer them and help them and mentor them and basically counsel them if required to basically execute their each and every day with more efficiency, with more confidence, and with more joyfulness. Okay, so as a woman, to the women, that is something that I always try and bring onto the table. And similarly with the male managers, they can also do this. Okay, and whenever, I mean, you find a woman colleague is under the situation, I mean, be it from the boss or at home, we should try and stand up for that. Okay, and either we basically have to be accommodative of that situation, or discuss about it and plan it out on how to basically handle it, right? And in terms of women themselves, they basically try and be not so perfectionist, and it's okay if something does not happen some other day, because even in my life, right, I have been star performer someday when I joined, and when I was a new mother, I basically staggered and stammered to take, I mean, because it's a new experience, right? And I am so grateful to those managers who basically stood along with me, because I could see the other side of the world once I sailed through it and still be a star performer later. So this is how, I mean, people always have created the culture for women, and that's my offering, and this is something that we all can do. So that's my answer.
Great, Veena. I think Veena was trying to say that as women, we understand women a little more better. This doesn't have anything between, the gender that comes. It's all inclusive about accommodating their situations and responding to them. Kshitij, do you want to shoot your question?
Sure. Thank you for that, Deepti. Uh, so I think my question was more on the cultural aspect of, I believe rather culture would make the whole empowerment and the leadership qualities for the women even more stronger. Uh, Rather, I would argue that is it because we are losing that core culture, and that's probably the reason we are at where we are today. I would rather say culture would the Indian culture typically would be something that would really make things much better, right? So I would like the panel to really share their thoughts on that.
I would like to go for this one. To be very honest, if you see Priya's example, I think that she quoted, right? And I would, personally speak for myself as well. In fact, I'm welcoming this change in culture because more than, us being in this position, I think we'll have to acknowledge our spouses and our husbands more that they are allowing us to, have our own wings because they are the role models here more than, us, because I would, request each one of, the male members as well as I think females also, because we can play a crucial role and have more sisterhood amongst, for our female colleagues also. But I think back home also, the more support that you have, the more acceptance and acknowledgement that you have, it is definitely going to encourage more female leaders. So I personally definitely welcome the change in the culture, where my husband is equally inquisitive of where am I heading to, what are what are my next goals, and what do I plan to do. So I think it's a great change.
Great point, Ashmita. Thanks. Nalini, would you want to again say anything on that?
Yeah, I think what Ashmita said is very, very true, right? It's not just the spouses. I think in my case, at least, I would like to acknowledge even my parents, right? It started from there, that they let us pursue what we wanted to pursue, right? Like they let our wings grow and also let us fly, right? Probably like back 25 years back, leaving the home and going to hostel was not a very common thing. But still, they believed in me more than what the society told. So they started the first culture change, that they let me go out of my comfort zone, leave the home, and pursue what I wanted to do. And from there on, after the marriage and the culture, the career, right, it has been male allies all through. I think the culture change has been there since one generation. Now it's very heartening to see that.
Great to know we are in the progressive culture change and very glad. Thanks for the audience to come up with these questions. I have one unavoidable question from Marit actually. Marit is asking, what is the panel experience on their most significant achievements? Are they different from other leaders?
Yeah, I can go on this.
Sure, go ahead,
Okay.
Nalini.
Yeah, see, I think I can talk from my experience, right? If my significant achievements are different from my male counterparts or like my own spouse, definitely I don't think it is equal. And most important fact is that I accepted that it won't be equal, right? I decided to have both lives, a career life as well as my personal life. So when it needed, I was willing to take a break or willing to take a slow down. So our careers and the male careers are not always linear. There will be breaks. There'll be a period of exponential growth, and again a break, and so on. I think that has helped me always to overcome that guilt factor, right? That I've been able to manage both my lives. Where I'm required, I'm there. Like just for this morning, right? I was actually I'm on a vacation and I was supposed to go somewhere, but then some critical production emergency came. So I had to take a small break from my tour and then come back, attend to the production emergency, and then come back, right? So I'm able to contribute to both the lives, and I'm there where I'm required. So I accept where we have to have that clear mind that we can't compare two persons' paths or two persons' trajectories. They are very different. All of us come from very different social, economic, and current situations as well. So we have to just live with what is there. And at the same time, when the opportunity comes, I don't hesitate to put my hands up because I think long term as well as short, I wouldn't say hiccup, but I would rather say short downs and ups in our life. That shouldn't dictate our long term strategy or vision for ourselves.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
but
Madam is trying
also
to
there is no definition of this is exactly the outcome or this is the achievement, right? I mean, whatever be the situation, you basically can create or equal or more impact. I mean, given the situation and given the opportunity, and even if there is a break, you can come back and create that kind of an output or an impact, which is definitely wider, deeper, and more impactful. So I guess that comparison always, I mean, somewhere it has to drop. It is unique.
Yeah, I think even Merit is trying to propose the same thing, that achievements is not gender biased. Across everything that you achieve is your own achievement, irrespective of other judgments. I think Anjana wants to say something on this.
Yeah. It is again the same thing, right? Achievements are very unique and very different. I kind of come from a background, a family where my mom was a teacher, and there were like a couple of them who were teachers, my relatives, who strongly believed that the only good option for a women career was getting into a teaching job, or probably next was the banking job. So I was the first person in the entire family to step into the IT industry, which was a big no. And that time, like 15 years back, they were like this BPO IT thing was like people were not open. There were a lot of families who were not even ready for their daughters to send into these kind of companies, IT companies or BPO. So I had to make a very strong point as to saying this is what I want to do and this is what I would like to do, and I want the support from my parents. My parents were happy, but then the society and things which kind of puts things into their minds, and they wanted me to get into another line. But I had very good professors who kind of told or mentored and educated my parents and others, also my friends' parents, also saying this is the right path and they will be really good achievers if you let them take this path. So I had all that part, and getting into IT itself was an achievement for me from the generation or from the background which I come into. And I'm very happy that I took the right step. My parents kind of supported me, and my husband is an equal parent to my daughter. We kind of split everything. So totally happy with the step we have taken, and I would call this itself as an achievement for most of us on this panel, I guess, panel or in the group also.
Great, Anjana. I think a lot of audience are also resonating with the fact that most preferable occupation for a woman is teacher and a banker. Well, that might be because of the inherent qualities that women always brings in, like to be a giver and to nurture and to, cooperation and collaboration. Let's hear Asmita. I think she also has something to say on this point.
I think the same. Our achievements would be definitely different to each their own journey, etc. But I think as we are growing, the sphere of influence that we have, or where we can make change, I think that's a big achievement, right? When you have, say, so many people looking up to you, they follow you, or you can make a difference, right? When they are having their issues, I mean, what all programs that we can chalk out, be it to uplift them, etc. Right? So I think that itself is an achievement, right? Where we can influence others and we can have programs for others. So that is another perk that we get, definitely.
Agree, Ashmita. At this junction, I would want to call upon Sundar, my co-moderator, to follow up with the rest of the questions. Sundar, how do you think the panel discussion is, and who is winning right now?
I think all are winners.
Great.
And it's quite interesting. I mean, to understand the background and the perspectives as well. And I kind of resonate with Soumya's question here. Her question is about how can organizations support women to take on senior positions or leadership roles? Are there any recommended measures according to the panel? And in fact, I was coming to that point as to, hey, so we have a panel with top leaders here. What are your recommendations for the up and coming generation of women leaders to get there. So I would like to open up this question to the panel. And Deepti, could you please coordinate?
Sure, sure. Priya, do you want to answer that?
Yeah. And I'm going to probably start with a very controversial note, and be patient with me on that particular thing. Although we talk about the glass ceiling for women and to grow and everything, I'm not saying that that's not true. I'm just saying that it's an imaginary ceiling that you have, and it's a self-doubt, and it's a compromises that you hesitate to make. And I think that's okay if you are doing that. Most important thing that I feel I really want to answer, why women do not actually go after some time up, is also because they choose it not to be. For frankly speaking, there is a lot of work that I have been doing into a program called Awake in actually understanding women and women leadership. To my surprise, how many women actually come into the world of corporate or IT corporate for the sake of being employable so that they can be marriageable. How many of them are there that I cannot even talk about it? That they are. Yesterday, they were the criteria was whether you can cook and whether you can walk properly, then you can be marriageable. Now it is, are you employable, so that because it takes two people to earn and raise two children. And that is why whether you're, and then if you go into the world of computers, just because it's a quick money, that's where, and especially in the testing area, very less passionate testers, which are really there to really make sure that they love this job and they want to do it. If you're choosing it because you cannot do anything else and you want to be in the computer because you want to support your husband, it's a wrong precedent itself. And then you can't imagine that you will be my technical colleagues over here. I will definitely say, being myself as a technical person, I love to be what I do. It's not because, and when you have that kind of a passion and a grit, you are tend to raise anyways up. Whether that up means in a corporate ladder up, if that up means depth of a subject or whatsoever, it's a normal human being's nature. So I think we should not be in any particular structure because of satisfying certain elements. If you are there because of your grit, because of your passions and your persistence, frankly speaking, you are going to make it. And then there is no glass ceiling, because that is what you love. And when you love something, you tend to get respect from the people always. So that's my really take on it. I know this is not a very typical thing, but who said that it's a typical thing?
No, Priya, I think that is true. As in, it is very necessary for us to bifurcate between our family priorities and our career priorities. Otherwise, we're going to be a massive chaos. And I think most of us have always felt this more during the pandemic because everything is happening in the same place. So I think I resonate with that point. I'd like to hear Veena on that.
Yeah, so while I totally agree with Priya, I mean, just an extension of what organizations can do about it was the question, right? So, first of all, organization should take one step forward to make women feel, right? Because, I mean, there are people from all streams and all societal layers in this talent group, right? Considering it holistically, what organizations can do is, I mean, basically drive a message that women should invest in themselves in terms of scaling, learning, and whatever be the situation. While the women are supported, they should always, I mean, that message has to be there, that it is important to scale, to take the higher opportunities, and it is important that women feels that she is important enough that she basically invests in her growth, okay, be it learning something else and on her personal stride, to add to whatever she knows, or in the professional stride, in case it's not that just because you're a woman you will be given a seat somewhere where it is important, right? It is wrong to accept that. You basically have to strive hard and get there and become eligible for that responsibility. So women should actually inculcate this responsibility, and in case if they are not conscious and sensitive about this, org should try and drive that point, is one thing. And one example I want to give you on this is one time in one of the workplaces that I used to be, there were a lot of young mothers with 2 years, 3 years, 4 years kids who were leads in the testing stride, right? And there were a lot of on-site opportunities as well. So then it's like, although I felt that their profile suits here very well, org did not approach them thinking that since they have these responsibilities, they may not be willing, right? And these ladies basically thought that nobody would consider us for this because they know the condition. A little talk over there in between, wherein I could sit with them and tell that, if you are ready for these kind of compromises or these kind of things for 2 or 3 months, and you basically can go and make a career there, and you fit this profile so well, and I don't see anybody who can do a great job here compared to you. So after that pep talk, in the whole of 8 or 9 years of that account, there were hardly any women who went on site and took that responsibility. But in a short term of a year or so, there were 10 women on site. Actually, they got their family there after a while. So it is important that the women are let know that this is possible. So and the managers or whoever is responsible can be given that thought process to make the rest of the folks feel that this is possible.
Sure, thanks, Veena. On the same question, but making it more technology specific and testing specific, Nalini, because you come from an security background and you have worked enough, would you want to add anything on what women can do to make themselves sharp or upskill with based on these grounds?
Yeah, so I completely agree with what Veena said, right? That we need to be allies, or we need to be that coach or mentor to the fellow women. The way I see it is, it all starts with me, is how I see. So if I do see by having aspirations to go up and move up the career, I'm creating that kind of people around me who are also energized, or who look up on me like a role model, right? So apart from doing coaching and mentoring to people who are aspiring, I also in this process think that by having personally some objectives in my career, I can influence the people around me, right? So that is one. And what does that mean? It means that I have to constantly upgrade myself. I constantly have to prove that opportunities are existing, and it is an equitable workplace, right? So that is very crucial. That impression that the senior leaders give to the people around them is very important. So that is what I think is a major responsibility being a senior leader in my organization. So so twofold. One is to help myself, and then also to help others. So that is what I think is very important.
Great. We have a few more questions coming in. Sundar, can we take the next question for maybe Ashmita?
Yeah, I think we have one from Bharat on how can we support women in India in becoming global leaders in testing space.
How can we support women in India to become global leaders in the testing space? Asmita, would you want to add your views for that? What do you think can be done?
Right. I think, it's in line with, the previous question that we were discussing, right? Where organizations, providing those, how can they have programs or responses. So basically I feel more participation, like thanks to internet and the explosion of social media these days, that we do have avenues, right, to connect with our counterparts globally, right? So that itself, like platforms like ATA, they themselves are an avenue, right, where we can reach out globally. And I feel I think in general, one thing that I wanted to say was that it's no more about the gender now. It's all about talent. Because if I have choice, I would go for a talent basically, right? Be it male or a female, because as an organization also, each one would want to succeed. Everybody, we have a set of wise investors, and they will invest in potential and talent, right? So so I think it's one is the source itself, like ourselves. The more we work on break those barriers, self barriers that we have, and grasp the opportunities, constantly upskill, cross skill ourselves. Not we shouldn't set ourselves in a framework that this is my skill and I'll not go here or there as well, right? It should be like learn everything that comes your way. Upskill yourself constantly, be in touch with the industry, and I don't think there will be any stopping from us becoming the global leaders.
Sure.
So that's for sure my opinion.
I agree. Anjana, anything on that?
Yeah, just one point added on it, added to whatever Nalini and others have said. We need to be men or women, right? We need to keep continuously upskilling ourselves. Investing in ourselves could be anything, right? Could be anything from a break, or you want a vacation, you want a vacation, you want to read something, you want to go in for a course or anything, right? So we should have that motivation or the support for us to invest in ourselves. And of course, the revolution is like happening very quickly. Like 15 years back, what was testing and what is testing today, be it terms of the tools which are introduced, or the types of testing which is like coming into evolution, or the agile testing model itself which is coming up. There's like a lot of revolution which has happened, and we need to be that person who will constantly keep upskilling ourselves, understand what is happening in the industry, understand what is happening in the world. That is the only way we would be able to grow up the ladder. Otherwise, nobody is going to call and tell us to take the seat which is available. We need to prove ourselves to be at that place where you want to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that if I can, with a couple of sentences. And one of the thing that I do feel very strongly is being a woman, and it's a very generally it is difficult job for women to go and say something about themselves and say that I'm ready for this particular thing. I think usually the language is, if you find me worth, give me this. And I really feel there is a problem with this statement itself. Whether you find yourself worth, so say it. I really think I'm worth of this particular thing, and you will not regret if you will do it in this particular way. And I think having that, claiming that seat on the board is extremely important in small decision making to even big decision making, and actually going for it. Many women ask me, do you really think, Priya, I can do this? And I feel like, you think about it, whether you really can do it, and say, I think I will fail. I said, that's okay. As long as you're okay to wear your failures on your sleeves and you don't feel that is your worth, then it is okay, because your male colleagues fail every day and they don't make a big howa about it the way you are doing. So it's okay. It's a journey. You're going to fail. I think a little bit of that it needs to be also there from a women perspective, because it's okay to fail. We are not going to be perfect, and everybody else was also saying that point. But the point I really wanted to make is, jump in it, just say. So better regret the risk that you have taken than regretting the risk that you have not taken. At the end of the day, don't be repentful. Arey, main hoti to ye kar deti, that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Right, right. I understand. I think we have a lot of questions flowing in, and that's really great. There's also another thing that is running on the chat. It's nice for people to be answering it on the chat as well, but I would want to take it on board. I think Karthik had a question that we are talking about male mentoring women. Are women actually mentoring women? Is his question. Of course, there is a couple of answers that have come from the audience and even from the panel members, but can one of you please take it? Ashmita, you want to go with it? Is women mentoring women and how is it shaping up?
Yeah, I think, definitely, because, just as I said, right, it's all about talent these days. And even if, I am in the leadership position, right, which today I am, I would definitely, invest in the talent or the potential, right? So to be very honest, I never bifurcate. Like if there is a customer presentation, right, I'll definitely go for the one, who would be speaking well. I'll prep, the person. I won't see whether it's a male or a female, to be very honest, because at the end of the day, each one wants to be successful as well, right? And when your team would be, you would also, right? So, so definitely, we are all in for this, entire sisterhood. There are many, female colleagues that I have, which where we have made the difference. We have, definitely, mentored. There are so many programs that even the organizations, that we were discussing, right, around diversity, which at least helps our fellow members to break those perceptions, right? So I don't see any barrier or any mindset that I have that since I am a female now, I'll not be mentoring a female. We definitely do this every day, and I completely echo Priya that it's all about generating that confidence. Everything else will definitely follow.
I'll have to cut you guys short here because we're left with
Sure.
like last 5 minutes, but there
Yeah.
are some very, very important things that we wanted to brush upon. Couple of things that we don't want to miss is the compensation and remuneration part of it. Always women think it is not right to negotiate and they might not get the right thing. Can you guys as industry experts tell us that is there any discrimination that happens when it comes to remuneration? And if so, how can you bridge that? Nalini, you want to go with this?
Yeah. See, I don't think there is a huge gap. At least right now, there are frameworks and practices put in place, right, to ensure that the compensation is in commensuration with what they bring to the table and what their potential is, right? So that is very. I would like to keep that topic out. But having said that, when it comes to any kind of compensation negotiation, right, like while changing jobs or while going up the career ladder and so on, I do see and even I'm guilty to that to some extent, right? To me, I always put the job content and the partnerships or the kind of colleagues I get in the process much higher than the compensation itself. So that is something that I think the women should brush out. They should always look for what is the right compensation they get, not just think these are additional like compensation is something add-on, right? While work and people are very important, sure, and the opportunities you get, I would always rate them high. But definitely, I think we should not shy away from from what we deserve, right? Unless we ask, no matter what the thing is, right, you won't get it. So that's something that ladies should inculcate.
I'll buy that point, Nalini, but I would just want to hear from Priya. What is your say about the remuneration changes, if exists, and what to do about it?
I agree with Nalini that within the company, usually there is remuneration changes or compensation is not really varied, whether it is a male or a female. They are usually very fair, equal processes which are there. But I also agree with her that a woman, when I take a job, looks at 4 or 5 different things than when a male take a job. Okay, they usually, and I'm not really biasing it. That's the way the nature is. You tend to think about one thing or 2 things, and women start to think about 5 things. Ye mere ghar ke paas hai, this is there, that is there, that is there, and then they negotiate. So I really feel that as long as it's a fair thing, as a holistic package, it's a fair thing to you and suits you, then I don't think you should regret. I have seen many times when I go inside the organization that my male counterpart actually may be getting higher than I am. But the comparison point doesn't come in me, because I also have a quality of life that also I look at. I don't really necessarily compare. I feel pity of the fact that they don't get to enjoy what I get to enjoy. So yeah, so it's a perception. I don't think it's a majorly compensation problem, at least in the IT industry, because thank God HRs are mostly women and they take care of probably the equality part of it. And this is a joke.
Right.
Nothing to do with my male colleague, but over to you.
Right. Sundar, do you want to just take a, holistic collective thing of what we all discussed? And, we have like just one last minute to summarize what all we have discussed through the thing. Sundar, any questions, any inputs here? Sundar,
Sundar, you're on mute.
Yeah, we are almost at the top of the hour. I think the discussion is more than interesting. I would say it's inspiring, right? So, see, I mean, I can say from my generation, like my mom were homemakers, and my mom and my aunts and others were homemakers, and they've rarely stepped out of the house and done anything. But at the end of the day, they did prove themselves in a very different way by bringing us to where we are today. But today, what I'm proud of is, as a country, what we have done today is something phenomenal, right? When I work with women colleagues, it's truly a differentiator in terms of the thought process that we have when it comes to a process, or when it comes to creativity, or even designing a product, or building something big. The contribution of women today is it's immense, right? So that's quite inspirational. And what I see from this panel discussion is that we have taken that inspiration and kind of discussed it over a period of 1 hour, and also come up with solutions to the up and coming women. And what I would say is not just for women. The solutions and the answers given in the panel is not just for women. It's also for men to take home and also think about and help themselves to keep that leg up their career. So I would like to thank a lot for this panelist for taking the time to kind of share their perspective, share their insights, and share their knowledge with us. And thanks a lot, Deepti, for a very engaging round of panel discussion.
Yeah, I would just like to tell the guests we have a lots of questions on the chat. Please stay with us and try and answer them. We also have a lot of things saying this is less time, we needed more time. And, thank you so much for being so candid and, expressing your lots. Your thoughts so clear and so close to heart. We really enjoyed your journeys. Probably we have not been able to give enough time to each one of you because it is time boxed. So please stay with us and look at the questions on the chat, and please put your thoughts against it, and then we can still continue the discussion there. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, just to sum up these things, leadership qualities are actually not gender biased. It is more of, our mindset and how we really, look at it and our perspective on that. So I think we have established unisex and no gender biased in the leadership rounds. Thank you so much all the panel members for joining us.